You've probably seen them all over your feeds lately, Americans who've moved abroad and are painting a perfectly curated version of their new life. Look at my villa, look at my lifestyle. They're selling a dream, but many are stripping away the context. The Dominican Republic is trending heavily with move abroad content businesses and influencers. I've lived there for years, I'm married into a Dominican family, but this isn't only a DR story. It's a pattern that you see anywhere there's a cost of living gap. Here's the pattern. Someone moves abroad and almost immediately the country becomes a business, a product. I left the US, life is easier here, it's cheaper, it is better. You should do it too. And then the funnel follows, the relocation guide, the real estate course, the insider circle, the paid community to teach you how to transition smoothly. There is nothing inherently wrong with sharing your experience living abroad or even selling advice. I do it, many of us do it. The problem starts when you turn someone else's country into a commodity and leave out the reality they've never had to face or simply can choose not to. That's not education, it's marketing, and marketing has consequences.
Esta tarde hubo una marcha en la Ciudad de México contra la gentrificación.
Expat a comprar varias viviendas, vive de ellas y vive como un parásito, porque eso es lo que son.
I'm not anti-living abroad. I've lived abroad for years. I'm pro-context because real people live in these places and real decisions get made from what all of us post about living abroad. And as more Americans consider leaving the US, I want people to understand the full set of dynamics they're stepping into, the good, the complicated, and the uncomfortable. I'm talking about the growing number of creators who've turned relocation into a product that they're selling. People increasingly are making life-altering decisions based on fantasy and a desire to escape. And when reality hits, they don't blame the influencer, they blame the country. Now here's a common tactic, the US versus the Dominican Republic. It's framed like apples to apples, but what's usually being compared is a middle-class life in the US compared to an upper-class lifestyle inside a very small enclave. These are not equivalent. You'll see gated communities, modern villas, private security, imported grocery stores, high-end amenities, spaces that are built for people with money, including local elites. And then comes the line. The media will never show you this side of the Dominican Republic, but the media absolutely shows luxury development and luxury tourism in the DR. What often doesn't get explained is how close these realities sit to each other. For example, in Santo Domingo, luxury towers, 10 minutes another way, barrios. Most foreigners in Santo Domingo, for example, live in the same cluster of neighborhoods. This zone functions as a wealth bubble. Luxury towers, private security, generators, water tanks, private clinics. So when somebody says, this is life in Santo Domingo, what they often mean is, this is my privileged life inside a very small pocket of the whole country. And that distinction matters. But there's a community cost as well. When large numbers of foreigners get funneled into the same enclaves that are privileged, rents rise, properties values spike, and local wages actually don't follow. A significant portion of Dominicans live below the poverty line, at least 1 in 5 Dominicans. Millions still deal with unreliable power.
¿Cómo es posible que en el 2026 se siga yendo la luz en RD?
Underfunded schools, overcrowded public hospitals, and when systems fail, many foreigners have their workarounds, as do the Dominican elite. There's a word that Dominicans use, impotencia, the feeling of powerlessness when the systems that you depend on fail you and you have no other recourse at all, nowhere to turn. Most foreigners never feel that, and if they do, they were not expecting it. When I was a journalist on the ground in the DR covering travel and tourism, my rent was never more than $650 a month, a significant difference from the US cost of living. I never denied that that was possible because of the structural systemic issues. So it's not about whether you sell it or not, it's about whether you're telling absolutely everything and educating yourself about the condition of the average Dominican in the country, as opposed to just your own conveniences. The majority of locals can't access a lifestyle that's being sold, not because they don't work hard, but because local wages don't support it. So that villa lifestyle exists for a small elite and for foreigners with foreign income. It's not how the majority of Dominicans live. The Dominican Republic is indeed a rapidly growing upper middle income country, but growth doesn't equal equity. Nearly half of the workforce is informal. That means for every 2 people you see working, one has no contract, no pension, no safety net. Income inequality remains a challenge as well, even though the Gini index has improved over the past decade. Between 2000 and 2021, real minimum wages actually declined by 23%. So while the economy boomed and villas went up, the actual purchasing power of the average worker sector was shrinking. This is why upward economic mobility has remained limited in the DR. It's not a lack of effort.
En RD no se puede vivir con 15,000 pesos mensuales.
So if someone is selling you a life in this country, this is the kind of specificity that matters, and you should ask for it. Now, let's talk about Punta Cana. It's a tourism corridor. It was built and engineered for consumption. Most gathering spaces are private, resorts, beach clubs, gated complexes. Now, to be clear, Punta Cana has expanded significantly, now home to middle and working class neighborhoods, local businesses, schools, and families. But the gated enclaves shown online operate very differently from the broader Verón Punta Cana area where workers actually live. And when listings in a peso economy are consistently marketed in dollars, that tells you exactly who the target buyer is. So when someone films their lifestyle there and says, this is the life that you can have, sure, that's the life you can have in that enclave, but it's a very small percentage that experiences that in the country, and it certainly doesn't come close to what most Dominicans can afford day to day. This isn't about bashing the DR. It's a country that I absolutely love, and it is my family's. And it's not a US versus DR comparison. Don't fall for that gaslighting. Every country has pluses and minuses, and every country deserves to be evaluated on its own terms, its own history, its own structural realities, and data. And ignoring the minuses is damaging. Some creators will say, don't colonize my country. But if your business model markets an insulated lifestyle for the rich while ignoring the structural conditions that make that bubble possible, that is still extraction even if your ancestors came from there. Being from a place doesn't automatically make your marketing ethical. And what's often missing from these funnels is all the real talk. Local wage levels, housing displacement, racial hierarchy. You cannot credibly sell life in the Dominican Republic while ignoring the social and political forces that are shaping daily life, including the pressure that is being created by Haiti's humanitarian crisis. Now, I don't just want to critique. It is about doing better.
To all influencers who are incentivizing people to come over to other countries.
Show the full picture. To those who are moving abroad, question comparisons, follow the money, seek out local voices from different parts of the country, from different parts of society. And if you move abroad, ask whether you're contributing or only consuming. I've lived in 8 countries. I'm not anti-abroad. What I am is anti-fantasy being sold as fact for profit. Moving abroad is one of the most meaningful things you can do in your life, but only if it's approached with honesty, humility, and awareness of the systems that you're stepping into and recognizing your privilege. So don't let someone else's highlight reel replace your research, and don't let anybody sell you a country without showing you the complete story. If you've noticed this move abroad, influencer economy growing, tell me what you're seeing and what you think in the comments. And if this was useful, please do like the video so more people can find it. Subscribe for more conscious conversations about travel, culture, identity, and life abroad. This is Lily with Tourism Lens, and I'll see you in the next one.